What is a better way to name the wrong question? On stackoverflow.com, I often find that people ask questions about problems that arise due to poor design choices, typically due to a lack of knowledge about the particular programming language. For example, the OP will make a choice at point A that is wrong, then in order to correct follow-up errors goes on to B, C, D, and at point X, S, he gets stuck, and thus asks a question about X, when the solution to the problem is actually to fix A. Note that this is not limited to programming, but can be any project. Earlier, I came up with the underwater house problem to describe a similar situation. Q. I have this underwater house. I am having big problems with leaks and water damage. What is the best way to stop a leak? To which the answer, of course, is, the best way is to not build a house underwater. When faced with such a question, I often feel the urge to name it or create some classification to let the OP know right away what the mistake is. The best way to state this that I have come up with is, you are asking the wrong question. However, I feel that this is inadequate and requires further explanation. Is there a more self-explanatory way to state this? Some simile, saying or phrase. Update, I felt that no answer really fits the bill better than the wrong question, though treating the symptom was arguably the best answer. The amalgam you are treating the symptom of a design problem, while dead on the money, is not as clear, concise and pithy as one would like. And sometimes not correct.
A fairly idiomatic way to express this is that you're treating the symptom. You need to stop treating the symptoms and resolve the root causes, or you're just going to keep getting more symptoms popping up endlessly. It's like taking cough medicine because your pneumonia has given you a nasty cough. You may stop coughing, but you still have pneumonia. You've only treated a symptom.
Hofstadter's moo could work here. Moo is the answer to the question, when did you stop beating your wife? It's a way of negating or invalidating a question that cannot be answered because the presuppositions are invalid. A concise and sometimes used term, see below, is problem by design. It will apply to a fraction of the cases you mention. For some, making fun of the question, e.g., in that approach, the bicycle's too big for your fish, is appropriate, but for most, the phrase, not even wrong, is most suitable. Some titles that appear in web searches for problem by design include the dioxins problem, by design or by accident, remote desktop problem, by design, Windows XP, and huge install problem by design. The general idea behind this phrase is that problems are occurring because of the design chosen, i.e., are like designed in problems. However, this concept will be too subtle for most bad question writers to grasp. The not even wrong concept is not at all subtle, but perhaps applies more to answers than to questions. For example, this URL writes: the physicist Wolfgang Pauli was once asked to comment on the work in a paper by physicist X. Pauli's comment was that the work was so bad that it was not even wrong. A related but different issue has the interesting name of wicked problem. Among many characterizations mentioned in the Wikipedia article are, the problem is never solved definitively, the problem is not understood until after the formulation of a solution, solutions to wicked problems are not right or wrong, and wicked problems cannot be tackled by the traditional approach in which problems are defined, analyzed, and solved in sequential steps. The main reason for this is that there is no clear problem definition of wicked problems.
Say your question is based on a false premise. From Wikipedia. A false premise is an incorrect proposition that forms the basis of a logical syllogism. Since the premise, proposition, or assumption is not correct, the conclusion drawn may be in error. However, the logical validity of an argument is a function of its internal consistency, not the truth value of its premises. In other words, if, to use your example, the premise A was false, it doesn't matter how sound the chain of reasoning was that lead from B to C to question X. The question was based on a false premise.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.